MAGA is calling for Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, to be fired. This is the beautiful thing about MAGA, is that if you're not willing to go up to the line and do the illegal thing Donald Trump wants you to do, then you're expendable. And that's the thing that I hope everyone realizes after we go through this story, is that if you are between Donald Trump and what he wants and you're not able to deliver it, you're either going to get fired or you're going to implicate yourself in some sort of crime. But before we get to all that, if you could please hit like on this video, it would help more people see it. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. We're trying to hit 900,000 subscribers by the end of the week. All right, now let's get to this. Here is Cat Turd saying, I don't care who disagrees with this statement. And the statement is, I'm not afraid to say it. President Trump has the best cabinet I've ever seen, except Pam Bondi. And if you don't know who Cat Turd is, I'm kind of jealous because I wish I didn't know who this guy was. But he is an online MAGA influencer who has a lot of sway, and his name is Cat Turd. Okay, that's just to show you where we are in our politics, that a man named Cat Turd has millions and millions of followers online and actually has persuasion in politics. Anyways, he goes on to say, we're never going to get the promised land with her. She has to go, fire her, and get her a real ball breaker. She's weak. Goes on to say, I don't care who disagrees with the statement. It's true. We have a little over 3 years left. She's not the one. We have to get a new AG. The Trump administration is moving fast. It's like a snowball rolling downhill, and she's being left behind. I'm at my limit. We need a new AG. Well, why is MAGA so upset? I've got more reactions to this, but the reason why, and this has not really been talked about too much because so much has happened, but NBC is reporting now that this is coming out of the DOJ, that there is no evidence yet of ties between Charlie Kirk's shooter and left-wing groups, officials say. Officials being one Pam Bondi. Shall we read a little bit? The federal investigation into the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk has yet to find a link between the alleged shooter, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson, and left-wing groups on which President Donald Trump and his administration have pledged to crack down on, despite zero evidence. Three sources familiar with the probe told NBC News. I don't even know, what is a left-wing group? What is a left-wing group? Boy Scouts of America? I have no idea what a left-wing group is. I'm trying to think of one. I can think of right-wing groups like NRA, Turning Point. I'm at what, like Mom Demands Action against Trump driving? I truly cannot think of a left-wing group. And then I can't think of one that would inspire a shooting. Okay. So a source said that thus far there's no evidence connecting the suspect with any left-wing groups. Quote, every indication so far is that this was one guy who did one really bad thing because he found Kirk's ideology personally offensive. In addition, two other people familiar with the probe said it may be difficult to charge Robinson at the federal level for Kirk's killing, while the third source said that there is still an expectation that some kind of federal charge is filed against Robinson. Factors that have complicated the effort to bring charges at the federal level include that Robinson, a Utah resident, did not travel from out of state. Kirk was shot during an open campus debate at Utah Valley University. Additionally, Kirk himself is not a federal officer or elected official. A Justice Department spokesperson said the investigation is ongoing, and beyond that, we decline to comment. Beautiful. Goes on to say here's a problem. As Stephen Miller said that with God as my witness, we are going to use every resource we have at the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and throughout this government to identify, disrupt, dismantle, and destroy these networks being left-wing organizations, and make America safe again for the American people. It will happen, and we will do it in Charlie's name. Well, I don't know how you're going to do that when there's no evidence that left-wing groups that, again, I don't know what a left-wing group is. To me, a left-wing group would be like people who go mountain climbing. I truly can't think of a left-wing group. Regardless, whatever left-wing group they think could be involved, there's no evidence of it. And we're learning that evidence still kind of matters. It still kind of matters. It's one reason why Donald Trump fired a Virginia Attorney General, because that person, who's extremely MAGA, didn't charge anything against Letitia James because there's nothing to charge. You need evidence. You need evidence. And I'm grateful we still live in a time when evidence is required and it can't just be made up. Because the difference between where we are right now and where Russia is in Russia, if you get taken to court and you're not a friend of the state, they find evidence to use against you. Now, that's still not stopping Caroline Leavitt, from saying stuff like this.
Domestic terrorism that we're seeing, the White House and the president's policy team will be leading the charge, and that really begins with designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization.
Like, where does Antifa even meet? I don't think Antifa is a real organization. Like, is it organized? Are there Antifa chapters? Can I go to an Antifa meeting in DC? I don't think so. This is all smoke and mirrors. It's all smoke and mirrors. Now, separately, I have this reaction from Alex Jones, but before we get to that, I don't know why this guy is in sunglasses, but here is someone on Fox News repeating this narrative that Pam Bondi is not going to last very long.
Megan, we're always, a lot of times when Donald Trump does things that are a first, people say it's unprecedented, it's never happened before. But is this so different from when the last administration and Joe Biden would kind of quietly put out through sources, senior officials at the White House and the newspaper, that during the Hunter Biden case and during the classified document case, he was really mad at his Attorney General, Merrick Garland?
I don't think that Joe Biden ever hid his feelings towards Merrick Garland publicly or privately. But I do think what is unprecedented here is the factions in the MAGA base that this is causing. And it makes me curious how long Pam Bondi will last. Because if it's not this, it's the hate speech that she messed up on earlier this week and not releasing the Epstein files. This is creating a huge faction within the MAGA base. And it will be interesting to see how long she lasts and then who replaces her.
Yeah, I guess the one thing to be scared of is this isn't going to last much longer than someone worse is going to get her job. Now, to whoever gets that job and to Pam Bondi, here is one reminder about what happened to the person who was Attorney General when Nixon was president.
Honestly, now's a really good time to remind Pam Bondi that John Mitchell, Richard Nixon's Attorney General, spent 19 months in prison, and Richard Nixon spent 0 days in prison. Even with the Supreme Court's ruling that the president is not liable for any actions he does under the Constitution, that's not true for Pam Bondi. The Attorney General still has to follow the Constitution and the law.
Still does, and I think that's one reason why we're seeing that Pam Bondi is not totally acquiescing to Trump, because though she might be a stooge, she's not stupid. And she knows that anything she does that's illegal, unless Donald Trump is in power forever, eventually is going to come back to get her. So the decision she has to make is it worth implicating herself to help someone who isn't going to be in power much longer? And I think we know the answer. I think she's kind of telling us how she feels about Donald Trump and his ability to keep power. And as I said, Alex Jones is this is something that I think we should talk about more, but is disputing the statement by Turning Point USA around Charlie Kirk's shooting, saying that is the equivalent of believing in the Easter Bunny. So I wanted to bring this up is because there's a lot going on. It might look like it's cohesive if you see that memorial. It is not cohesive at all. There is clear divides happening because of this. And what do they try to do to us? Keep us divided. Because why? Because then you're easier to destroy. But it turns out they're just going to be destroying themselves. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please hit like. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I'll see you next time. Bye.